Howdy folks, welcome to 20th Century Adventures. I'm Nathan Logston, and today we're going to show you some motor camping essentials. So maybe you have an antique car, maybe you have a friend who has an antique car, maybe you're thinking about going out and hitting the highways and the national parks, going out and doing some motor camping, 1920s style. These are some things that you should consider adding to your kit because you've got clothes and you've got a car, but you need the other essentials. So we're going to talk about some of those things. We're going to talk about some things that are readily available from reproduction vendors like myself, Vico Outfitters, and then we're also going to talk about some antiques that may be a little harder to find, but are usually readily available. So these are some things to be on the lookout for. If you're planning on going to Tahoe, California for the National Motor Camp, you definitely need to look into getting some of this stuff because it's going to be a real immersive experience. It's going to be amazing. We'll put a link in the description so that you can find how to register for that. It's going to be a good time. I highly recommend going. I apologize for the road noise. They're putting in a new bridge by my house, so that's going on. I can't really edit that out, so I apologize in advance for any modern noise you may hear in the background. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you guys is this totally awesome running board kitchenette. Now, these are usually quite expensive. They're a little hard to find. I recommend checking out the Model T Ford Club of America. They have a forum where you can get on there, and they have a buy-sell forum on that, and that's where these usually will show up. So that's a good place to find them. Otherwise, search your local antique stores and eBay and wherever you might find one. But expect to spend somewhere in the $300 to $500 range for something like this, but it is way cool. Now, this is not mounted on this car because this particular kitchenette is for a bigger car than a Model T, so it doesn't quite fit right, but it's got a couple of brackets on it, and it does require drilling holes into your fender and running board. So a lot of guys aren't going to want to do that to their antique cars. I understand that. There are some other models that are designed to just strap onto the running board, and if you're really innovative, you might be able to build one of these or buy one and build a bracket for it that will allow it to sit on the running board instead of having to be permanently attached with drilling holes. So something to think about there. But these are super cool. It's got a top compartment to store your large dry goods. It's got these cabinet doors here that close up. You can put a little latch on that. Inside here, you keep all of your other supplies. You can store your plates in here, your utensils, whatever you need for camping and eating. Your whole kitchen outfit should fit in this running board kitchen. So definitely something to look for. Cool thing. All right, so another thing that I have that may be a lot easier to find are these tins. Now, these are all reproduction tins that were made in the late 80s through early 90s. A lot of companies like Nabisco and other companies, Hershey's, they put out commemorative tins during that period that were reproductions of early tins. Now, a little bit of Googling, you can usually find out what each tin, what period it should go to. So some of them are 1920s, some of them are 19-teens, but a lot of them are really great. You gotta watch because sometimes you'll see a 1930s or 40s one in there. I also have several other ones. There's one that is a Quaker Oats can. I use that in my house every day for storing my oats. The tin is better than the cardboard boxes that the oats come in. So these can usually be picked up real cheap. They'll always have modern markings on the bottom, and sometimes you'll see modern markings on the side, but not usually. But these can be picked up usually for around $5. I don't think I've ever paid more than maybe $7 for one, and some I've gotten as cheap as $2. So these are readily available. I find them at antique stores all the time. Grab you a few of these because even if you don't put the actual product back in the tin, they're good for other things, and in the period people used these tins kind of like Tupperware. So you could put anything in these that you wanted to keep secure, and it's not really airtight or watertight, but it will help with keeping rain and stuff off of it, keeping dust out of it. So that's good. And you can always put your product that if you're putting food in these, you can wrap that in plastic before you put it in the tin, just for an added layer of protection and keep the air from making it stale. So these are definitely something you want to look out for. Now, I want to do a shout out to Sarge Vining from Vico Outfitters. He sent me a collection of some of his packaging products. He's been really working hard on creating period cardboard packaging for common goods. And I tell you what, the stuff that he's making is amazing. So here's a small Quaker Oats cardboard box that he made, and the only thing that throws it off from being an original is the paper's a little glossier and the printing is not quite as crisp as it would have been on an original. But otherwise it looks really good. Now this is a good small size for if you are going out by yourself, or something like that, maybe 2 people. This would be enough oats for 2 people. But I have 4 kids, so I need a bigger one. So I will only use this if I go out by myself or with a friend. But it's very cool, and all these are available on his website, VicoOutfitters.com. He's got a dried beef box, so if you've got some beef jerky, you can put that in this. He also has these little tiny boxes, and these are for a bouillon cube. And of course you can buy a modern bouillon cube and put it in the little box, and that is great for making soup. And he's got this dried vegetable soup can. So this works really well, especially if you're on foot, because the dried goods are very lightweight. And usually what I'll do if I'm going out on foot is I'll dehydrate some vegetables and dehydrate some beef, and I'll pack that with a bouillon cube to make a soup. And someday I'll do a video just on that soup. It's a great recipe, it's easy to do. These boxes are going to work great for that, and I'm going to use these when we do that video. He's got a desiccated eggs carton, so if you have some powdered eggs you want to carry, you can put that in these. Here's his pancake flour. Again, the labeling on this is not exactly perfect. It's a little grainy, but for the price, you can't beat them. This is way better than trying to find original packaging that's not going to hold up. And it's already done. It's easy. You don't have to do it yourself. You can just buy these ready to go. He's also got some tins. Now this coffee tin, I don't know about you guys, but I am a heavy coffee drinker, and so that's maybe 1 morning's worth of coffee for me. Although we were talking about it, and we think this may have been for instant coffee, which was just coming into popularity in this period. So if this was filled with instant coffee, then it would be a little bit more. So again, this might be good for putting in your pack if you're going out on foot, but for motor camping, where I'm going to be out for maybe a week at a time, I would definitely want a bigger coffee tin. But these are super cool. Now this is extremely useful. Here we've got a collection of various spice tins, and he's got period labels on all of these. These are also available from Vico Outfitters. So we've got pepper and cinnamon. This one is ginger, and I think he's got a few other versions of those as well. Here's a cardboard box for sage leaves. So good stuff. And of course, the Cheez-It box. And again, this is not enough Cheez-Its for me. This box would be better if it was a lot bigger, but this is the period size. So I may have to go back and buy about 5 more of these, because I'll go through Cheez-Its real quick. But again, Cheez-It was a period brand. It had come out by this time. It was popular. It was a snack food. This and Oreos are essential for any camping trip that I do in 1920s. Now here, he nailed it. This is the bacon box, and that is a suitable size for bacon. That's serious bacon. This will probably hold a half pound to a pound of bacon, and that's more likely what I will use. So so good stuff there. Now I want to talk about some of the goods that you can get from Logsdon & Co. Of course, I'm wearing our brand new wool herringbone breeches or jodhpurs. These things are so comfortable, and I know they're going to be great, especially when I go to Tahoe. I'm in higher altitudes. It's a little cooler at night. I'm going to want, the humidity's really low. I'm going to want something warm, even though it's going to be July. So I'm definitely packing these to take to Tahoe. Those are really nice, really warm. I've also got the Logsdon & Co. shirt. This is our cotton work shirt. It's just a great all-around, comfortable, breathable, lightweight shirt. And of course our herringbone cap. This is a newer design over the blue and gray. So we've got a few of these left, and hopefully going to be ordering some more before too long. Now, a few other things that you will need. One of my favorite things here are these driving gloves. When you're driving, especially in higher altitudes and in an open car, a good pair of leather gloves are key. So I've got these driving gloves. These are available from Logsdon & Co. as well. And they've got this beautiful embroidered design of a flying wheel. That was a popular motif for automobilists and motorcyclists in the teens and 20s. They used this all over the place. It actually became the official symbol for several different clubs, including the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So in 1911, with the first Indianapolis 500 race, this was the official logo that they used, and they still use it to this day. So as a driver, this is a great logo, and it's very beautifully rendered on the leather. They're comfortable, they're flexible, they're warm. They'll keep my hands warm while I'm driving. Good thing to have. Now, of course, since we're going to be in sunny California for the National Motor Camp, I'm going to take along some sunglasses here. These are sunglass shades is what they were called in the period, and I have documented these at least as far back as 1917. And these are available on our website. The side guards, these are gravel and rock guards, dust guards. They fold down. Everything folds down neat and compact. You can put it in your pocket. These cannot accept a modern commercial lens or prescription lens. So that's the only drawback to these, but they're a cheap pair of period sunglasses. They're about 15 bucks on our website. Definitely worth having, and they look super cool. Now, if you're like me and you wear modern glasses, but you still want the protection, these are our driving goggles, and they will fit over most smaller modern glasses. If you wear really big glasses, they won't fit, but I'm wearing the glasses that are on our website. These are the 1920s tortoise shell frame, and these goggles fit perfectly right over them, and occasionally you'll get some double glare issues, but for the most part that's going to cover it. So this will be really good, especially if I'm on a gravel road and I'm driving behind another car. These will be great to keep the dust out of my eyes. I've also used these in a torrential downpour, and it keeps the rain off of my actual glasses, and I can see a lot better. And don't forget your Amalgamated Order of Motor Campers pennant. Now, this is not a real club. It's a Facebook group, but in Motor Camping on Western Trails by Melville Ferguson, he makes what may be my favorite quote. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he talks about all the people on the road and how you see individuals that are driving a Peerless or a Packard, maybe they have a RV, and you see people in Model Ts with the bare minimum of equipment. And every one of them will stop and help the other person on the road when they break down. They'll share camps together. It's a classless society of people that are out there for the same general purpose, the same mentality. And he calls it the amalgamated order of motor campers. Now, I thought that was so cool that I've adopted that term. And so, yes, it's a Facebook group, but it's not a real club. Anybody who is out here doing this is part of the amalgamated order of motor campers. That's the whole point of the quote. So, so I made up these pennants and carry one on each of my cars, and you should too. So these are available on the Logsdon & Co. website. Another thing that we've recently come out with is this small saddlebag set. These were designed for on the horn of your saddle or to be used on a motorcycle. So these work out actually remarkably well. I can easily throw it over the side of the car like I had it here. They fit over the door. If I didn't have this in the way, it would fit a lot nicer and hang better. But you can easily throw them over the door. I keep my toiletries in here. I keep my modern stuff. I usually keep my cell phone and my battery pack for charging my cell phone. My medications, all that stuff goes into my saddlebags, and they can literally hang anywhere. You can hang it up on your windscreen. It's easy to access. Great tool. And they also throw over your shoulder real easily. So these are on the Logsdon & Co. website as well. These are handmade in the USA. Sometimes there's a bit of a slowdown on how fast our guy can make them. So if they're out of stock, just wait a little bit, we'll get them back in. This is available on the Logsdon & Co. website as well. This is a traveling spice and oil kit. So you can put dry spices in the cork bottles. The cap bottles will hold liquids. This is great for if you wanted to carry a little bit of olive oil and maybe some extracts or something like that. And then your dry spices, you can put dry spices in these as well. This could also be used for a medical kit, and that's what they were originally marketed for. This is in the Abercrombie & Fitch 1904 catalog. The design's a little different, it's a little longer than our version, but it was marketed in that catalog as a medicine kit. So you could do that as well. You can fit Band-Aids in the tubes, you can put some salves in there, whatever you need. And it's got this really nice oiled canvas case. It's a heavy duty oiled canvas case. It's got period style elastic loops and canvas loops. It'll hold things well, it keeps them from getting broken. You can also run, if you're running a clothesline or something in your camp, or even one of your tent ropes, you can lay this over the rope like this, actually up here. Lay this over the rope and then snap it shut. Those are good heavy duty snaps too. And it'll hang on that rope. So that's a good way to have it ready and easily available in your camp. It's got two grommets right here, just like the original. And that was for running a small padlock through there in case you wanted to keep other campers out of your supplies. Obviously, it's not going to prevent somebody from cutting it open or something, but it stops the ones that are only slightly honest. So that's definitely something I recommend that everybody pick up for their camp. So here's a few more things that you're definitely going to want to look for. First, we'll talk about some light here. These little hurricane lanterns, usually you can find these just about anywhere. You can actually find reproductions of these. I find the reproductions don't work quite as well as the originals, and the better of the original you find, the better it's going to work. If you're looking at original ones, always check the bottom to make sure it's not rusted out where it's going to leak, and take a look at your glass, make sure it's not cracked. Otherwise, it should be pretty functional. Put a new wick in it, put some kerosene in it, it's going to do great. These are fantastic lights because they're cheap and easy to operate, and they put off a decent amount of light. So they're not very breakable either. They'll hold up pretty well. I like to put mine in a wooden crate with a little bit of rags around it to keep it from rattling around and possibly getting the glass broken. The rags you're going to want for cleaning out the inside of the globe, or for mopping up any spilled fuel, and it'll keep in. Some of these will leak a little bit, especially if they're overfilled. They'll leak some from here, so it's good to have some rags around in your crate anyway, and there's always a use for rags in camp. So pack a few rags around it for padding. It's the easy way to stay period. You don't have to carry modern paper towels that way. These Coleman quick lights, these are extremely expensive. They're usually available at antique stores, but you're going to spend $150 to $200 minimum on one of these. And again, you want to check and make sure they're not rusted out on the bottom. These are a lot heavier duty, so they don't usually rust out, but they can be rusted out. They're a little trickier to work with. Once you get them going, they put off a ton of light. This will put off as much as a 60-watt light bulb easily. Works a lot like a modern Coleman lantern, and it does take the same mantles that modern Coleman lanterns take. So the parts are available. Sometimes you'll find the generators are bad on them. Actually, this one needs a new generator, so it's waiting for restoration. The generators are available from oldcolemanparts.com. So you can find the old stuff to restore these lanterns from them, and I'll put that link in the description as well. But these are great lights. You can't beat them. If you make sure you've got the mica globe, there are places where you can get reproductions made, or you can make it yourself if you're handy. The mica globe won't break like a glass globe will. So this works out really well in the car heading down the road. Again, a wooden crate with some rags around it is a good idea to keep these safe, and hopefully keep from breaking your mantles. Definitely pack extra mantles because you'll almost always break a mantle in the process of motor camping. So, good lights. Even if you have a quick light, I still recommend carrying a hurricane lantern as well, because they're just super handy and it's always good to have a backup. Redundancy is important. Next thing I want to talk about is the Hawkeye picnic basket here. These can be found at antique stores as well. If you watch the whole video that we did just on the Hawkeye baskets, you'll get a little more of the background history and information on these. But these are fantastic things. These were the first igloo cooler of periods. So these came out, I think, in 1909, if I remember correctly, and were popular all the way up into the 1930s. You'll find there's two different styles. One is wider and narrower and shaped more like a picnic basket. And then there's this version, which is longer and skinnier, and it's designed for automobile trips. So it's longer and skinnier so that it will fit on the running board or fit in the back of the tonneau with enough room to still get your feet in if you have passengers in the back. Now this one's in rough shape. I'm actually going to do a whole video on restoring one of these, and this is the one that we're going to restore. It's got some problems that we're going to fix. But they have a strap. In this case, the strap's broken, but there's a strap over the top to keep the lid down. The lid opens on both sides and removes completely. These are lined with tin and asbestos. Now the asbestos is not going to hurt you because it's encapsulated in the tin. Asbestos is only dangerous if it's friable, in other words, powdered into the air. So don't tear them apart, you'll be okay. Inside there is a tin that is for the ice. So this is your ice bucket. I recommend a block of ice. Find a Tupperware that fits inside of this and use your freezer to make frozen blocks of ice that'll fit inside of this tin, because crushed ice just melts too quickly in these. But a block of ice will last all day or more. And that slides down neatly into the picnic basket. Now, of course, you can carry a modern cooler and hide it with a blanket or something, but if you really want the period experience, Hawkeye picnic basket is where it's at. But the last thing that I want to show you is something that's available again on our website. These are running board bracket straps. So they're really simple. They just clip on to your running board, screw tightens down, and then you have an adjustable strap that you can use to tie things down. So if you're going to put your picnic basket on the running board, or if you're going to put, a lot of people would put their tent, you see a lot of photographs of tents rolled up on the running boards, or a bedroll, extra blankets. You definitely want whatever's on the running board wrapped in canvas to keep it clean, because it's going to get mud, it's going to get dust, it's going to get dirt all over it as you roll down gravel roads and back roads and things like that. But stitch you up a bag or something like that that is a long tube. You can see these will take a very large item in there. There's plenty of room. So you can put your canvas and your tent poles, maybe your stakes, put it all in a bag. The poles don't have to be in a bag, but it does help. But put it all in a bag and put that on your running board over the top of these brackets. Strap your strap around it. Good heavy duty strap. These are handmade in the USA for our store, so they will actually drop ship from a different location. So you may get a notification on the website that you have that your item's been shipped, and there won't be a tracking number because it's coming from another place. But we can get that tracking number for you if anything goes wrong. Just let us know. We'll take care of it. But these are fantastic. This is definitely something that if you have a car, you need. And these will fit any car. They're not specific to Model T or any other big car, big six car. These will fit literally any automobile that has running boards from any time period. So definitely something that you'll want to look into, especially if you're going to do a lot of on-the-road camping. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, give us a like and subscribe. Be sure to check out the websites I've mentioned and have in the description: logsandco.com, Vico Outfitters, and Old Coleman Parts. Good places to get the stuff you need. Get your kit ready and get on the road.